What's up, Rescue Squad? So, what would your definition of a misogynist be? I think that a misogynist is someone who doesn't treat women very well. Probably beats them up, mugs them, does a lot of stuff to them that's not nice. But a lot of Sony fanboys seem to have a bit of a different criteria for what makes someone a misogynist. According to them, it's someone who doesn't buy a current full-priced video game regardless of quality. Apparently, how you treat women in real life, you know, the services, the protection, the chores you do for them, doesn't seem to matter to crazy people who are terminally online, who seem to think that the only thing that really matters to if someone's a misogynist or not is if they like fictional female characters. Particularly recent ones that just so happen to coincide with current gen full-priced releases and not any of those old used games that publishers don't make money off of anymore. Let's explore this idea a little further. If you're someone like me, and you've actually enjoyed a lot of fun retro games with female protagonists and female playable characters, such as the one I'm playing right now, which isn't even considered a good game, but I enjoyed it anyway, do those just not count anymore? Do all other previous experiences with both women and female characters, fictional, just not exist anymore thanks to the presence of a brand new one? Are all of those previous ones not profitable, I mean progressive enough? Why don't any of the ones from history seem to count towards you not being a misogynist? Also, apparently, if you don't buy current generation mediocre games that are heavily marketed that happen to have female protagonists, you're also smelly. I didn't know game boxes doubled as soap bars. And you have no sex life, which I didn't know game boxes, or I guess the holes in the discs, also doubled as condoms. And you have to wonder how much the people making this claim that you hate women, you're afraid of women, whatever they're spewing, whatever ignorant nonsense they're spewing, you have to wonder what they think of poor people as well as developing third world countries that are too poor to afford these games and many of which don't even have the games being released there. Are they misogynists? Do they also hate women because they don't have the money to buy a current gen game? Are they also... Do they also have no sex lives? Because statistically, the high birth rates of third world countries would seem to suggest otherwise. And when it comes to customers buying normal, regular customer products, what exactly happened to it being my body, my choice? I worked for the money. I've done a good job being thrifty enough to save lots of money. Why don't I get to choose which games I like without being labeled by tourists who they probably have been gaming for a while, but they talk like they only were just introduced to gaming 3 to 5 years ago max. And it just makes me wonder why there seems to be no standards for current gen hardware with the biggest marketing budgets ever. You do realize that these companies like Sony don't need you to fanboy and white knight them. They have PR departments. They're not going to hand you a certificate of defending them on social media. And if the games are a success and they do make lots of money off of them, what do you think they're going to do with that money? Do you think they're going to help women and girls who are being trafficked? Do you think they're going to set up women's shelters with that money? I doubt it. They're probably going to make more mediocre games that fanboys will eat up and are convinced that all the previous ones, including the ones that supposedly relieve you of being a misogynist for buying them, don't matter. You really have to wonder how terrible things have gotten when I'm completely fine with a supposedly bad game, yet even I'm not interested in current ones, where it seems like you just walk and listen to characters babble. This game is an actual game. I have to wonder if the reviewers that gave this game, Cosmic Race, a 0, and even named Cosmic Race after their 0% lowest rating, I have to wonder if they got a glimpse into the future of all of these cinematic games that are full of walking, if they would have changed their minds shortly after. If they would have given Cosmic Race another chance and been like, we should probably enjoy this game while it lasts. Basically, if you want to actually make a difference in the world, and help the fairer sex, then my suggestion would be to go outside and spend time with them and help them out with chores. Your internet virtue signaling is not going to matter if you can't help your mom with the laundry. Do some community service. Pluck some weeds, pick up some trash, roll their bins up when they're empty, vacuum their car, just any small task. You don't have to end all of the wrongdoing against women in the world for it to be effective. You can just help them out in small ways that they'll appreciate, because women actually do like being helped and rescued by men, and I feel like teaching people that they want to be independent all the time is not really helping them. It's actually making a lot of people and a lot of men ignore their plight and be less helpful towards them. So, I'm not really talking about a specific game here. This is kind of an evergreen point I'm trying to make for any time this social media circus happens, where people virtue signal over a game that they may or may not even buy, and have a lot more to say about the people who are not interested in it than they do about the game itself. I don't really see that many positive things being said about a lot of games that end up becoming flops, or at the very least forgotten a mere few years later. I only hear a lot of disparaging insults towards those who didn't like it, and little evidence that there are people who did. Even a lot of bad games can still be uncovered and still be talked about years later. Even the Virtual Boy got a virtual console release inevitably 3 decades later that I was excited for. And I doubt the same will happen with Sony's tepid, progressive, cinematic games that are full of walking. That just doesn't make the games good. And Sony used to make a lot of games that were pretty jank, but they were at least games. This game is pretty much the poster child for a bad early Sony game, not to mention an early example of an asset flip, but it's playable. It's playable, and it's not something I mind that much, and it's at least something I engaged in. And as far as the wow factor goes, it's even technically pretty impressive with these big environments that you're flying around that are 3D. So, I've enjoyed plenty of games in the past with female protagonists and female playable characters across many different genres. I've even been nice to a lot of women in real life, and the fact that I don't have the same feelings towards current video games doesn't negate any of that. You don't see me calling other people misogynists for not liking some of the obscure games I like that happen to have women in starring roles. It's silly behavior. It's entertainment. Your taste in entertainment products does not determine who you are. And that is pretty much what I have to say about that.